Hello and welcome to the Rabid Atheist. I'm Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now a compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Feel free to like or dislike the video as you see fit, so feel free to hit those buttons. Feel free to comment below, and I would appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel and hit your notification bell for more content as it is released. You're also free to share my videos as much as you like, because the purpose of this channel is educational in regards to atheist and deconversion issues and any issues related to those issues. A hearty shout out to the Rabyd Nation. Join the nation by hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel in a more tangible way, hit the join button, and your membership options for citizenship in the Rabyd Nation will be presented to you. Today I want to introduce a third of my Bible studies on Tuesday. I have another Bible study where I talk about when God kills, looking at all the different times that God kills in the Bible. I also have another Bible study where I'm looking at, called Tongues of Fire, where I'm looking at how Pentecostals view the book of Acts. Kind of a Bible study, kind of a commentary on interpretation of a certain group of Christians. But I think it's helpful for those of you that are in the Pentecostal church that are coming out of it and deconverting. You can kind of see how there's certain biases and how Pentecostals look at the book of Acts. But I want to introduce this one, which I'm going to call Heroes of Faith, Heroes in quotation. And this is based on Hebrews 11. I'm basically going through the list of people there that Hebrews 11 lists as people of faith. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of a character analysis of each of these guys, where they appear in the Bible, what some of the things they accomplished in the Bible and what they did, and then why this is considered being a hero of faith. But also, I want to illustrate in this is how believing in the Bible can indoctrinate you into viewing a person as better than what they really are, simply because they were supposedly people of faith. And so you give them a hard pass on a lot of their bad behavior and bad things that happen that they do, because of the fact that the Bible says that they're a hero of faith. And what I want to look at is get past that bubble around these people that we kind of give them free passes on things, and remove that and instead look at it from a standpoint of, can we really say that these people were good people? Can we really say that they actually accomplished anything? Okay, so what you end up doing with a lot of things when you look at things of faith is you say, oh, well, they're a person of faith, so this bad behavior or this toxic behavior or whatever I can overlook because they're prayer warriors, or they're people that do this and they're people that do that for God, and so on and so forth, or they have a real strong gift of faith where they believe in God very strongly for something they can't see. And that kind of gets into the definition, because Hebrews 11 starts with verses 1 and 2, which says, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, for by it men of old gained approval. Okay? And so this is how religious people view faith. And from my perspective, I no longer consider faith to be a virtue. In fact, I am very convinced that faith is a vice. Because you're basically believing and trusting in something that you can't prove. Okay, you have conviction and you hope for it. But if I were to ask you to prove that it exists, this thing that you're viewing and hoping for, you'd be hard pressed. People have been trying to prove the existence of God now for literally millennia, and have, in many of our estimations as atheists, they fail. Okay, and when you really look at the evidence they provide, it's pretty bad and pretty shaky. And this is where many of us, including myself, I think Aaron Ra is the one who I first heard this from, but I don't know if it's him that created the idea, but faith is auto-deceptive. You continue to believe and trust in something that you can't prove exists because you want to believe it. And this is, the age-old adage that people want to believe what they want to believe because they want to believe it. And so you deceive yourself. You engage in self-deception in thinking that you're going to achieve this thing in faith, and really there's nothing there to achieve. And I want to illustrate this with these guys, these so-called heroes of faith that are listed in Hebrews 11. It's kind of me taking on Hebrews 11 and asking the question, were these guys really heroes? And why do you say they're heroes? And is that really a good reason to call them a hero of faith? I don't know. These men of old gaining approval, so to speak. Why does this gain them approval? Is this really a good reason to be approved, or is it mundane, or is it something that's actually, when you really think about it, a little bit nuts, crazy, or just crying up evil? Okay, so we'll see as we look at these characters. Sure, I mean, even the Bible admits they weren't perfect, but how imperfect were they because they believed in faith? How difficult did they make other people's lives because of faith? How many people did they kill because of faith? On and on the list goes. And when we look at the list, it's an interesting cast of characters. Next week, or the next time this series appears, I'll be talking about Abel. Then I'll talk about Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Rahab, one woman on the list, Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and then some of the prophets I'm going to hit. My point of this study is, we're told that these people are heroes of faith by the Bible. These are people that we can look up to as examples of faith. And what does that mean, really? When you really break down faith and realize you're believing and trusting in something that may not exist, that's kind of deceptive. You're deceiving yourself about something. And faith can, guide you in your life to believe and trust in anything, that anything will happen. Basically, all religious people have faith that their religion is true. Okay, and if it's not true, then they're being deceived by themselves by their faith. This is why faith isn't a virtue, and it never will be to me anymore. If something has absolutely no evidence, I really don't see any reason to put faith in it, okay, or trust it. Do I trust it? No. Do I have assurance about it? No, because it hasn't proven to exist. And so, thanks everybody, for trying here with faith, but I don't buy it anymore. And that's why, when I look at the other virtues that I follow in my life, I get away from this. I'm hoping from a deconversion standpoint, for those of you deconverting, this Bible study may be very interesting to you, because you're going to look at these people that are so-called heroes, and then we're going to ask the simple question of, why in the world do we consider these people heroes at all, and heroes of faith in particular? Why do we look up to these people when this is what they actually did and this is what they actually accomplished? And so we're also going to deal with the question with some of these heroes, did they actually exist? Okay, or are they just stories? So I'm hoping that this Bible study will be a little bit more interesting for those of you deconverting and dealing with faith issues, because people, you got to have faith. And I'm going to try to demonstrate with this Bible study why faith is probably the last thing you really want to do in most situations, to just believe and trust without evidence. So instead, skepticism, in my opinion, is a far better virtue. And so we'll see what happens down the road with this one, but I just wanted to introduce it. Next time this Bible study pops up, we'll be talking about Abel and whether or not he deserves the title of hero at all, or is that just something that we brand him, that the writer of Hebrews branded with him because he was trying to make some point to believers. Well, we'll see when we get there. But in the meantime, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate every like, share, and subscribe. You guys have been awesome. This is a channel that's growing and continuing to grow, and I appreciate that. So I appreciate everything that you do for the channel. And as always, live your best life. Don't spend your time, your money, your talent, your treasure, all the things that you hold sacred or dear to yourself on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end, but rather give yourself to yourself and the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. Trust me, I speak from experience. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.